Well, welcome back to the Well Below Average podcast on a Well Below Average Cowboys Lost Sunday. I'm Adam, and with me, as always, really leading the charge here is Nick Nepic covering. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm better. Pretty sick on Thursday and Friday of this past week because it's Sunday, so it's the new week. However that works. Um, Still kind of nursing a small cough, still kind of congested, so I'll have a cough drop most of the show. Maybe have to mute myself a few times to cough, but I feel way better. And today was a big day in our house, actually. I gave in, and we have put up the Christmas decorations, including the tree. It is all up, and here we are. And we watched our first Christmas movie sometime this week, maybe last weekend, something like that. So I held on as long as I could. We couldn't make it to Thanksgiving. My wife won that battle, but it's officially Christmas now in our house.
What movie was it?
Jingle All the Way, which I think is a quality 90s movie. 90s? Was it 90s?
Jingle All the Way. It feels late night. It kind of feels 2001.
Yeah, maybe I'll look it up. We have phone.
Okay.
Yeah, but we watched Jingle All the Way, which I enjoy. I loved that movie as a kid. And it held up. Let's see, 1996 is when it came out.
96. Okay. I have a tough time. So I graduated in '01, which right after the 90s. So I consider myself growing up in the 90s, majority of my middle school, high school. And I have a real tough time, things that happened in 2001, 2002, all kind of meld. That's still kind of the 90s to me. I have oh, that was 2002. Like Lord of the Rings came out in 2000.
Yeah.
You sure that wasn't the 90s? Because I was still in high school, but it was very, very end. So
yeah, but we watched Jingle All the Way. It was enjoyable. And now the tree is up. The Christmas decorations around the house are up. We do very minimal stuff outside, kind of just like in our entryway of our front door. But here we are, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So,
well, I like that, and that's a good segue. We're gonna jump into that. We're gonna move some thumb around our news. First, let's get into our sponsors. And you want to start us out?
Yeah, you see Rodeo Coffee right behind Adam, the black T-shirt there. Rodeo Coffee, small batch roasted, right here in Fort Worth. They are local. They have a coffee truck coming soon. In fact, I think I saw on their Instagram today, maybe yesterday, that they're getting the inspection done this week. So they'll be popping around DFW making all your coffee drinks. You can also find them Instagram, Facebook, buy some of their products there. They have T-shirts, but also all kinds of different coffees. And they're all over the place at farmers markets and pop-ups and things like that. But great stuff and great for this time of year when it's cold. You're sitting at home, maybe some time off work. You want to enjoy that fresh, nice cup of coffee. Rodeo Coffee is your place to go.
Yes, I do a lot of pop-ups, and I haven't seen them in a while, but I do miss running over there and starting a casual conversation under the guise of just getting a free little sample of their Colombian roast.
Yeah.
Oh, do you mind if I get another sip? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's talk.
Yeah.
I've spent the whole pop-up talking to them, drinking 8 cups of coffee, but that's legit, right? Rodeo Coffee is awesome. Another awesome sponsor we have is Local Menace. So Local Menace is another local company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're Dallas-based, streetwear brand, artist-owned. They tell you they're hell-bent on destroying your wardrobe with their dumb gear. Their words, not mine. They make awesome stuff like this guy. They got a little banana with a switchblade. Their traditional, their kind of standard logo is awesome. They come out with new cool stuff all the time. Check them out at localmenace.com. And use code BEARDCREW, beard like a beard, crew, and you get 25% off your entire order. They got hoodies that came out a few weeks ago, perfect for this Dallas. Kind of doesn't get too cold here, this Dallas-Fort Worth winter. Pick one up, look awesome, make all your friends jealous, and use Beard Crew. Let them know that we sent you, and you get a big chunk off your order. So check both our sponsors out, and Ish Beard Works. And let's get into our news. And I want to talk about Christmas lights.
Okay.
I didn't send you it was kind of a hectic weekend for me, so the I'm gonna jump around here. These usually explore snore, but we're gonna have to explore this one. You put your Christmas lights up. This is from a few days ago, 2 days ago, but a Florida family faces fines for early Christmas light display.
All right, how early? What's the details here?
Okay, so a Florida family is in trouble with their homeowners association for putting up their Christmas lights too early. The Mofa family hired. That sounds weird, Mofa, like they were in the mafia, they're witness protection, and they were like, we're going to be the Mofa family. Like they just.
Or it sounds like short for a bad word that we will not say on this podcast.
I didn't even go there, sir. Did you go to church this morning?
I actually did not. But anyway, so they got fined. What do we got here?
Yeah, so they hired a company to decorate their yard on November 6th. And a few days later, they received a notice that they were going to face a fine based on their HOA agreement if they did not remove the lights, and they were going to get $100 a day, up to $1,000 in fines if they did not remove the lights.
Does it say in this article, like, when is the allowed time? Like, when are they allowed to put them up? Because November 6th is too early, but is there based off their HOA? First, and also, while you look at this, HOAs are usually bad. Like, and I don't, live in a nice enough neighborhood to have an HOA, but all I ever hear is people complain about them. Like, they're sticklers about, a basketball hoop in the driveway or your Christmas lights or whatever it is. I will say, on our street now, like down on the far end, there's like 3 or 4 houses that have had their lights up for, at least a week, if not more. So it is not too uncommon around here, but we don't have an HOA, so I guess we got lucky.
Yeah, so it doesn't say when they can, but apparently the whole, so the family's arguing that the spirit of the rule is to keep people from leaving their lights up all year round, and the family has actually offered, like, we'll just keep them off. We won't turn them on until the appropriate date, and the HOA said no, they need to come down. So
HOA are like just power hungry jerks. Like they're people that want to feel important, that want to make rules. Like some accountant guy that he just works a normal job, but wants to be a stickler for the Christmas lights. I am all like for waiting to put up lights. I think Thanksgiving deserves its proper due and the fall feeling, but don't fine people. Like if maybe it should be the opposite. Like if they stay up longer than January 2nd, we'll say January 1st, then you get fined. But November 6th, it's early, but I disagree. We'll go protest. We'll go stand and protest in solidarity with the Mofa family.
Mofa family against it's the West Chase Community Association.
Can't stand them.
I've always told my wife, if no matter, things work out for us, we move on up, we're never moving to an HOA. I will not pay somebody to tell me to come. If I'm going to live like a slob, I'm going to.
Do you guys put up Christmas lights?
No.
Any Christmas decorations inside or outside?
Inside. We don't do outside. Now our neighbors do. We're kind of the blight on our street. We're that neighborhood. No, we're not bad. We're the worst, probably. So we have neighbors that, our neighbors not across from us, but over one. They have professionals putting up lights, and their house is real nice. I'm like, man, that's a nice house. I'm like, why do they live in this neighborhood? Yeah. Then I look around and like, oh, it's just us. It's just me.
Yeah, we do, like I said, like some stuff in the entryway, but no real lights. And then inside we have quite a bit of decorations.
So, but our real problem is we don't have outside power. We did one year get one of those projectors, but we had to get an extension cord from the garage all the way out. And it was just kind of a pain. Plug it in, plug it out, when it rained, and to run it in and all that. And it was just, that's the biggest reason we don't, is because we don't have an outdoor plug anywhere around the house.
Well, these people, I'm with them. We'll have to get an update on this story at some point. Maybe we'll find one.
Yes. So next story, which should have been our first story, Explorers snore. Drivers scramble as cash falls from armored truck on freeway.
Ooh, let's explore this because this is like every I feel like 90s kid movie, like the scenario played out. Like there's money flying everywhere, and people go for it, no matter what the consequence might be.
And I have a little story for this. So this is Carlsbad, California. Drivers scrambled to grab cash Friday morning after bags of money fell out of an armored truck on a Southern California freeway, authorities said. So an accident occurred shortly before 9:15 on Interstate 5 in Carlsbad, which real close to where I was stationed in the Marine Corps. So the truck was heading from San Diego to an office in the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, blah blah blah. And one of the doors popped open, and bags of cash started falling out on the highway. Several bags broke open, spreading cash, mainly ones and 20s, all over the freeway. And basically, as you can imagine, everything went into halt, gridlock, and people were jumping out of their cars to grab lots of cash.
And I'm sure that's some sort of crime, right? To get that money?
2 people were arrested at the scene.
Okay, all right, yep. Now, if you let's say, I mean, if that happens, like you're going after, I mean, maybe not on the highway, like that's a little much, but you're going after it, and I wonder if anyone got away, and if so, like how much money did they get away with?
It doesn't say. Authorities didn't immediately say how much was lost. However, at least a dozen people had returned money they had collected to CHP. But they did warn that if anybody out there was found to have taken any money, they will face criminal charges.
What are we talking? Like a fine, probation?
2 people were arrested at the scene.
I mean, because if you spend the money, and they say, I don't know enough about criminal justice to make up a verdict here, but you spend the money, you have to give it back, give them the stuff.
So here's my question. 2 people were arrested at the scene, presumably with money they had, right? With the attempt and it had to be the assumption they were going to take it, but they were at the scene, right? But the people who then had the money took it and then said, "Oh, we need to go give it back to the highway patrol." They were good.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
Like, how do you they made the assumption that 2 people were trying to steal it? Maybe they were like going into the armored car. It doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't know, but don't go after money. Apparently, if you can't pick up money that fell on the ground, you'll get in trouble for it.
So, quick story. Similar. It wasn't an armored car, but I was walking home. I lived in Lake Worth, west of here, part of Tarrant County. I was walking down Jacksboro Highway, and before it was anything there, back in the day, before all the buildings were there, when it was all fields, I was at a stoplight. I was crossing, and a truck was speeding down the road, and an envelope flew out, an intersection, and money started flying out. And some blew towards us, and my friend and I, and we didn't go out into the intersection to grab the money, but we each grabbed one that blew towards us, and it was a $100 bill each, and we each got a $100 bill.
Nice.
And we just ran away. We just ran off. Boom. And then I get home, and I tell my stepdad, of course, he was like, "Why didn't you get the money? Like, why didn't you get the envelope?" Like, it was in the middle of Jacksboro Highway. So it's like, you had room, you could have got it. Yeah. He got mad at me for not grabbing the entire envelope, but it was a big money, like a big envelope. Cash went everywhere. So me and my friend grabbed the 2 closest bills to us, and it was the summer.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice little bonus.
What did you spend?
Oh, I don't know. I was probably 12, 13. I don't quite remember. I think the Kmart was open by my house still at the time, so I'm sure we went down there and just bought junk food and snacks.
Nice. Hey, that's living like a king when you're 12 or $1,300.
Yeah.
Now you're lucky that it wasn't like some drug deal gone wrong or something, and you picked up money that you shouldn't have. Although it might have been, you just didn't get caught.
Yeah, I'm still here.
And now they're going to listen to this podcast and find you all these years later.
Yes, it's going to be
Full
that
circle.
one drug dealer is going to be one of our dozens of listeners. Of all people, right? That would be my luck, right?
I don't have any money stories like that.
So you've had to earn all your money, hard-earned money.
Yeah.
Right. Explorer Snore. I don't really want to talk about it, but we can. Kyle Rittenhouse stuff. I don't have an article, but
yeah, I don't want to talk about it either. It's been kind of a beating this week. Not that we shy away from, I guess we can call it politics, but I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, maybe let it digest a little longer before we get into it. And last story, this is a little older, and I haven't done banana facts in a while, but the imminent death of the Cavendish, which is the only banana you've ever eaten, and why it affects us all.
Go ahead. Why not?
Okay, so basically I'm just going to hunt and peck a few things, but essentially why we have the banana we had before in the 1950s was called the Gross Mitchell, Gross Mitchell. And from what I've understood, that was like basically our banana is trash compared to that. And it was wiped out from the planet from something called Panama disease.
Guess there wasn't a vaccine for that.
No, there wasn't. Or people didn't think the vaccine was necessary.
It turned you into a zombie.
Yes.
Clearly. Or
it turned them into Cavendish. But, yeah. So essentially, yeah, we have... and this article basically, and it's a very long article, so I'm not going to try to read everything, but essentially, the banana we have, like I've told you before, is a clone, right? And it began its life in some Chatworth house in the Peak District, home of the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire, some British state house, some rich British dukes and duchess are the ones that started like experimenting with this, and this is the banana we have. But the banana Cavendish is already there's another fungus basically wiping it out as we speak, which they say currently a 10,000 hectares of the Cavendish has already been destroyed. Panama disease, I guess, again, has adapted, and we could lose our current banana soon. I'm trying to find the exact date they're predicting.
I don't know if I'd be too upset about that. I mean, I eat bananas, but I don't really like them all that much. What are your thoughts on banana split? Because I honestly don't know if I've ever had them, but somehow they're still around.
I don't like chocolate and banana together.
I actually do like chocolate and banana together. I shout out to Steak and Shake. Most of the things there are not very good, but however, they do have a side-by-side milkshake that is chocolate. You can get like whatever flavors. I like to get chocolate and banana together. I think that's a great combo.
Okay, I guess I'm not anti-banana split. I don't think I've. Seems like a beating. I know I've had one. But I think of like right now, like if I was to go into like an ice cream shop, you have any ice cream you want, banana split was an option. It would be very far down my list.
I mean, they're like an old person, not to disparage any old people. They're like a very old school dessert that I feel like just kind of hang around.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of like, you have one because it's banana split. Okay, that's cool. And then you have one. It's like, I had one. Ice cream with some bananas on it, some chocolate syrup and a cherry.
I do like banana pudding quite a bit. Speaking of banana desserts,
it's good. Banana pudding, banana bread's okay. I guess if it's done right. Yeah.
Banana, like a frozen banana with chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate banana. I like banana. I mean, I'll just eat a straight banana. I mean, that's good too.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're not too bad. But yeah, so there's a little bit of banana news, and that's concludes our Explorer Snore, where I think we didn't go. We went 3 for 4 today.
There we go.
But that always leads to the most electrifying segment of our show, and Nick hates it. What do we got today?
Well, we kind of stole the thunder of what I was going to talk about earlier, and that being Christmas early Christmas lights, the over commercialization of the Christmas holiday. But if I know we'll get to this, but I text you this week, and I like to do this from time to time. Combine a debate with Nick hates it. So
Okay.
I was sick this week on Thursday, and I guess most of Friday. But when you are sick, what is the first thing that you give up as far as personal hygiene? So it could be like a shower, brushing your teeth, maybe wearing deodorant. Let's be very upfront here. Changing clothes, like changing the undergarments. What's the first thing you're like, I'm not doing that, I'm sick? And then, like, if you're sick for a long time, you look up and you're like, man, I haven't taken a shower in 4 days, or whatever it is.
I mean, it's hard to say because all that stuff kind of happens in rapid succession. It's.
But like,
if I'm not getting out of bed,
you're like, you're dragging yourself. You're like, I gotta brush my teeth, or whatever it is.
Well, it depends. Like, yeah, am I like sick, but I gotta go to work? I gotta get up and I'm gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna shower.
No, this is like staying home sick.
Oh, then I'm not leaving bed typically, so I'm probably not doing anything. If I'm sick, that I'm not going anywhere or doing anything. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'll shower when I'm sick. Like, sometimes a hot shower like helps clear the sinuses, helps you feel a little bit better. I never, unless I'm like throwing up, I never brush my teeth when I'm sick, ever. I don't even think about it. I'm not worried about it. Like, I'll shower and like change clothes, maybe put on different shorts, different t-shirt, try to like feel a little bit better. But I looked at it was like Thursday night, and I was like, I have not brushed my teeth at all today. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure I wasn't around my baby much because I was sick, but I said to my wife, like, I'm sorry, my breath's probably terrible, but I do not brush my teeth when I'm sick, and I'm sorry to all the people who judge me for that. In fact, I'll admit something here. I only brush my teeth once a day. I've never been a twice a day teeth brusher. Is that weird?
No, that's probably where I'm at.
And I do floss. I floss every day, so I'm making up for it.
Do you use the floss, or do you use the little toothpicky
No,
things?
like the little pick thing.
Okay, that's what I use. And then I went to a dentist once.
20 times easier.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to a dentist. My oldest daughter took her to the dentist, and it was like this weird kids dentist, and it was all like cowboy, like even like the assistants were all dressed in like cowboy, and they did these like waiting room. Like the waiting room was packed, and they would do like little clinics, like, who here flosses their teeth? And like me and my wife raised our hand, like, we do, and like, oh, what do you use? And like we saw a little toothpick thing.
This is not real.
No, it's real. You're not supposed to use those because you'll spread the bacteria from tooth to tooth. And I'm like, why put me on blast like that? And I'm like, good job. All you gotta
No. Like, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah, like, okay, so you want me to stop? I'm not gonna go buy a roll of floss.
That reminds me. I don't know why. That reminds me of the Goofy movie. Have you ever seen the Goofy movie?
I think so, but it looks like we're joined by Levi Weaver.
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
How's it going, guys?
How's it going?
Doing all right. Should I put on my earbuds, or does this sound okay?
You sound great.
Okay, great.
All right. Should I put this on speaker view or gallery? Because I don't want it to always highlight me.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to.
Well, I'm going to try it like this. Hopefully Zoom's not dumb like Skype. All right. Well, welcome Levi Weaver from The Athletic and a haunted-looking attic office.
Yeah.
How you doing today, Levi?
Good. This was my COVID project. I got some art and some baseball cards and all sorts of things up there. So.
Oh, that's nice. I like it.
Is any of the art like your own art, or is it all someone else?
No. So my daughter made that. My grandpa actually did this horse. Actually, yeah, I did this. I painted that last year.
Okay, very cool.
And then that is the original artwork from my last album. It's actually wood burned on there, and it's a little faded from what it used to be. But yeah, that's. I'm self-centered enough that there is some me-related art on my wall.
Well, Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but glad you could join us again. So this is your third time on, first time without KT.
Mm.
Um, last time you were on, Nick was on the IL with a baby, so he
Yeah.
wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, I was in Buffalo and I had really bad reception or something, right? Like it
Yes,
was raining. It was a disaster. Something happened
no,
last time.
it was interesting because I really got to learn some audio editing
Yeah.
because live it was okay, but when I went back to do the editing, you were very quiet, so I had to like splice all your audio, raise the volume, and I had to like really listen and splice because when I raised the audio, it was like me and KT were screaming. So
Yeah,
okay, and I had to really mix, and so it was good learning experience for me in my audio mixing. So gotta find the silver lining in these things, but
yeah, right.
um,
That was an
so
adventure.
so it's off season.
Yes.
How you hanging? I mean, you travel with the team, so are you lost during the off season? Do you have trouble finding things to do?
No, the off season is where I catch up on my life, man. I get by around September of every year, I start to lose my mind. And in fact, that's one of my goals for 2022 is to have a better work-life balance because it's so every day from the middle of February until the end of September. Um, and I just get out and I'm like, friends, do you remember me? I missed you. So I have been spending a lot of time with friends, a lot of time going to see live music, which I missed for the bulk of, 2020, we just didn't have live music. And then 2021, I was at baseball games. So yeah, it's been a good, very full off season. I'm also like back in the rotation as far as getting up in the morning and taking the kids to school and to their various activities as well. So it's nice. I get to feel like I have a quasi normal life from October through mid-February.
So for like someone who does not understand what it's like to cover a baseball team, like the grind of that, you get to the park every day at like what time, and it's like almost 7 days a week, I guess, most of the time if you're like doing like a full homestand. Like kind of like pull back the curtain a little bit for somebody who would be like, oh, like
yeah,
basically watch baseball, which is clearly it's not.
So it starts, so like I said, in mid-February when pitchers and catchers report, and generally I will get out to Arizona sometime around Valentine's Day or a little before. Come home around the 3rd or 4th of March, and then I'm back out from like my son's birthday is March 17th, so I try and stay home at least until then, and then I'm back out there until the team starts the season around the 1st of April. And then yeah, it's basically 7 days a week, and so on an average night game I'm there from about 2 p.m. till, I don't know, it used to be later when I was doing gamers every day. It used to be like 12:31 in the morning. It's not that anymore. It's usually around 11:30-ish at night. So and that's what is really rough is if there's like an extra innings game and then they turn around the next morning and have a day game the next day, because I'm leaving at 11:30 and I'm back up at the park at like 9. And then yeah, the team has, I don't know, 35 off days or whatever. So instead of 2 days off every week, I get 35 days off every 9 months, and just sort of scattered and interspersed without. And the reason this year was hard, like this is going to sound like I'm complaining. I'm not actually.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
Go ahead.
I love the job, but this year MLB screwed it up for everybody, because usually the All-Star break is when I'll take like some PTO, I'll take the kids and we'll go somewhere, and I get like my mid-season break, right? This year MLB decided that they wanted to make the draft. They're like trying to turn the draft into the big like football draft, the basketball draft. Like, we're going to do it over the All-Star break. I'm like, no, that means I don't get to take any vacation. And for the Rangers this year, who had a very high pick, and it was the 2nd pick overall, it's like the most important day of the season for them. So I think that made it a little bit more of a grind this year, because I didn't get my mid-season break, and I think to hear because the draft is usually in like June, and this year they delayed it until mid-July. So I don't think they'll do that again. I talked to enough front office people that are like, we got the trade deadline coming up at the end of July, and all of a sudden now we're mashing all of our scouts into like we're doing draft and we're doing trade deadline, and it's all at the same time, and it's just too much. So hopefully they will scoot that back up to June next year.
And now, before baseball, you did music. So went from like one really busy all the time thing, like if you're doing.
Uh-oh, did I freeze or did you guys?
I think he froze.
Okay.
We'll see.
Sorry,
All
Nick.
right.
Did y'all lose me?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, re-ask your question.
Oh, well, I was just going to say you went from music, like which is busy all the time thing when you're doing shows, traveling, to baseball, which is busy all the time thing during the season. So, are you a busy person, or was that like, because that stresses me out to even like think about that.
Yeah, music was different though, because music I would go out for like a 6-week tour, and then I'd come home, and I'd be home for a month, and then I'd go out for maybe 3 more weeks, and I'd be back for 2, and it was like on again, off again. And then after I'd sort of done the tours, then I would have the sort of writing and recording and mixing and mastering cycle would kind of go through that. So there would be times that I would be home for almost a year, and then there would be times that I would be gone 200 days out of the year. So yeah, that was exhausting in a different way, because it was just like these big chunks of everydayness where it was like 15-16 hour days, and then I'd come home and just like not move from bed or couch for like the first few days. So it's a different type of grind. Baseball, it's longer, there are fewer breaks, but it's not as hard a work as music was, because being an independent artist, I was like booking the shows and then promoting them. Then I got on the road, and I'm the driver, and then I'm loading out merch, and I'm setting up gear, and then I'm playing the show, and then I'm selling merch, and I'm like, I was the band, and so that was, I would not have had the energy to do that like that at 40 the way that I did it 26, 27.
Yeah, I went and saw Chris Duarte. You heard of him? Blues guy out of Austin. He played with like BB King and those guys back in the 80s, but he's an older guy. I went and saw him in South Lake somewhere, and it shocked me because he had a big run in the 80s, and after his show he sets up his little card table and he puts his CDs and T-shirts out and he stands behind it.
Yep.
You don't have a guy for this?
No, those people cost money, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had a guy that was trying to learn how to he wanted to be a tour manager and just needed experience. I'm like, man, I don't really like the idea of an internship, because I think it's usually a little bit predatory, and that I'm getting free work. And he's like, dude, I need the experience. It'll be fun for me. I just want to hang out. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So he came out with me one time, and that was nice to have somebody to run the merch table where I could just like hang out and talk to people and it didn't feel so much of a like so transactional.
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk to all these people, but to talk to them, they're going to have to come to the merch table, and then they're going to feel obligated to buy something. So it worked in my favor, but I just felt kind of shady about it a lot of the time. So it was good times though.
It happens. Now I don't want to whip you with baseball, but I have one baseball question, which I wasn't going to ask, but
go for it.
I've seen your Twitter little controversy the last couple of days, and you left Salvi Perez off your MVP ballot, and that's not my question, because who am I to say? I want to kind of understand more, like what goes into an MVP ballot. Like how many votes? Do you get 10? Is that 10. How many? And what's the your thought process when you vote for an MVP, and how do you select 10 guys for that type of thing?
Yeah, a lot of the guys I'm only seeing 2 series a season. I'm seeing these guys 6 games a year, and so I really have to lean a lot on the statistics, on the numbers. And so it's not really it's more of a feel thing, I think, for me. I think there are other people that really put a whole lot of like subjective calculating into it, and I don't. Like, I'll go look at fan graphs and like look who led the AL in WAR. Like let's take those top 20 guys. Mm-hmm. Now amongst those, who played better defense, or who had who provided more value to their team. I know that in the past, generally players who play on winning teams tend to do better in MVP votes than players who play on losing teams. I don't weigh that heavily. But if it's between two guys and like one team made the playoffs and the other one didn't, like I can't decide between these two guys. Yeah, we'll take the winning team because what is value? The value was, I mean, you could make the argument. I'm not going to, but you could make the argument that a great player on a otherwise bad team is actually not that valuable because if he wins a few games for them, he's maybe costing them a better draft pick, which is just such a cynical way to think, but that is an argument that could be made. So for me, as I looked at Perez, I honestly didn't look closely enough at his numbers because in the traditional statistics, batting average, on base slugging, home runs, he did really well. And so, I mean, you could justify a vote for him. You could have taken, I don't know, Brandon Lau off. I don't know. Like I went back and looked. Like, yeah, good point. Salvi should have been on there. So let me see who I would have taken off. I really don't know who I would have taken off. People gave me. I think the one guy that everybody gave me the most grief for was Nathan Eovaldi. Mm-hmm. Eovaldi was great this year. He was like almost a 6-win player as far as Fangraphs WAR goes. He was, I think, somebody say, oh, you got Garrett Cole and Nathan Eovaldi on your ballot, but you don't even have Robbie Ray. You think those guys are both better than the guy that won Cy Young? I'm like, yeah, I didn't get a Cy Young vote. Robbie Ray would have been third for me.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're never gonna make everybody happy, and that wasn't the point of my acknowledgement. I just was like, yeah, good point. He probably was one of the top 10 players in the league. I don't know who I would have taken off. And frankly, like, I don't feel that bad about it because it's not like my vote made the difference between Salvador Perez winning the MVP or not, right? Like nobody but Shohei Ohtani was going to win it. Shohei won unanimously. I would have been just as happy if they were like, here's your ballot, you get to vote for one guy. Like, cool, no problem. It's Ohtani. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was a pretty clear second for me, and I think also for a lot of people. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, it just becomes like a fun discussion to have, right? It's not life or death. I don't know if Salvi Perez had a bonus in his contract where like, oh, if you get one extra 10th place vote, you're going to win an extra $250,000. Maybe he did, I don't know. But yeah, so it was fun to have the conversation, and I'm always happy to hear people's reasons why I'm wrong, as long as they're well thought out,
So, not to beat down baseball, but I feel like we're in a time, and maybe this has been this way for a while, but like people are less interested, at least people like our age, or like I talk to my friends like from like high school and all we ever cared about was sports. Like people are less interested in baseball than maybe ever. And maybe that's just a product of where we are in life and like instant gratification, whatever you want to call it. Maybe this is too straightforward, but how would you fix baseball? Maybe fix is not the right word, but would you do anything differently to promote, engage interests, or create new fans, or I guess however you want to characterize it? What would you do differently, if anything?
There'd be a few things I would do. One, I do think the pitch clock is a good idea to shorten games. You've got guys that really where baseball games become insufferable. And I don't know, maybe this is just because I watch about 200 plus games a year, but where it becomes really insufferable is it's the 7th inning of a 9-1 game, and you got a guy out there just laboring on the mound, and he's walking laps around the mound, and he's pounding his glove, and they tried to help this by limiting the number of mound visits a catcher could take. I thought that was a great idea. They do have to shorten the games up. I don't think 3 hours and 15 minutes is about as long as I would want a game to really go. If you could get it back into that sort of 2.5 hour range, great. I think that would be very helpful. And then second, I think I would make sure that minor league players were taken care of. And I think the reason that is kind of a personal thing that I have been pounding the drum about for a while, but I just think the longer that baseball gets this bad PR for mistreating MLB players and not paying them enough. And I think the new housing thing is great. It's a great step in the right direction. That would be one. And then third, I think, is something that they are doing is they really are beginning to promote better the sports personalities. In football, I remember in football in the 1980s, I'm old enough to remember football in the 1980s when Ickey Woods was a running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they made
the shuffle. Yeah.
Yeah, they made the Super Bowl, and he did the Ickey Shuffle. And I remember I was in a church play as a kid, and I had like a very minor role. I was like an angel who would like blow a trumpet or something. And at the end of my little part where I, blew the trumpet, I did at 8 or 9 years old, however old it was, did the Ickey Shuffle and spiked the trumpet, broke the trumpet also. But
that's so good.
Loved it because everybody knew the Ickey Shuffle, right? Like it's and touchdown celebrations became a big thing in football. It was rolling the snake eyes. You got Deion Sanders high stepping into the end zone. It was fun. Basketball did a lot of the same thing, like with the dunk contest, and you get players flashier, and you would get grumpy old white guys going, "They changed the game. I don't like this at all." I don't care. We got to keep the sport alive, and so I do think the let the kids play thing is good. I wish they would stop tricking up the uniform hats. That's where I'm the grumpy old man. I just feel like there's so many logos and crap all over it that it's just annoying. It looks confusing, but whatever. So yeah, I would lean hard into that. You hit a home run and you want to flip your bat 100 feet in the air, as long as you're not hurting anybody, great, go for it. Rivalry's awesome. And let the personalities shine, because I think that's that. As I see society, we used to watch sports because we love the sport. Almost everything that people do now is personality based. People have their fantasy teams and they're like, well, I like this player, and that's on some other team that I would never root for, but he got me 17 points last week in fantasy. And like, it is about personalities and about access. And I do think they're doing a better job of that. It's just going to take a while, and they got a late start.
I saw I heard, I think it was like that ticket, some business minute, that the top 10 highest paid MLB players combined have $16 million in endorsements.
Wow.
Some number like that. I looked at it, like Clayton Kershaw only has like $500,000 in endorsements.
Wait, doesn't he do those like Hankook tires or something? I've seen him on a lot of commercials where he's like throws the curveball and the guy hits it and he like runs 1,000 miles to catch the ball or something.
Yeah, look it up. Now Ohtani is the record setter. He's got the most, but he's not one of the top 10 highest players, so he doesn't really fall into that. But yeah, like
part of that has to be that Mike Trout is just doesn't like doing it. He was kind of like Dirk Nowitzki was a little bit that way too. He would do local stuff, but didn't really try to be a brand in and of himself. And that's fine if players don't want to do it. I think that's completely acceptable. But that's wild to me that it's only that high. Sure, like Fernando Tatis has to be. Is he in the top 10 as far as paycheck? I didn't get that.
He's in the top 10 in paycheck, but I want to say, I looked up an article. I want to say he's somewhere like in the 5 million range, 5-6 million in endorsements. Which they do have endorsements, but I don't think they're getting paid like the football and basketball players.
That's crazy. I think another aspect is something that the Rangers are trying to do a little bit, but baseball needs to do a broad scale a better job of, is that they're not doing a great job with inner city youth as far as like building the game from the ground up. You get the kids that are succeeding, the kids that most by and large are either from Latin America, or the kids from America are kids whose parents paid for them to be on this travel team and bought them the expensive equipment, and they're playing year round, and it's tens of thousands of dollars a year in investment in these kids. And so like the poor kid whose parents make like 30 grand a year and are struggling to make ends meet, like how is he going to ever get into baseball? Where are the baseball parks? Where are the leagues for these kids to play in? They exist, but it's just so much easier to like go to the park and pick up a basketball, and you got the goals there, and you just play a pickup game. I think that's something that even my generation did, and maybe we were kind of the last generation. And we would just go out and split up teams and do ghost runners on first and second, and I don't know, like I don't see pickup baseball games happening in parks anymore like they used to.
Yeah, the baseball field by my house they practice football in the outfield. That's all I ever see.
Yeah, and there's Little League, but as far as like, I mean, Little League's not super cheap anymore either. And I don't know how it would solve that problem. How do you got to get when I was a kid, it was baseball cards, right? Like I started playing baseball because of baseball cards. What can you do to get, 7-year-olds interested in baseball right now?
I don't know what to put our heads together on that one. Well, I don't want to talk baseball to death. One thing you sent me, we were talking a little bit about Succession.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched the first 2 seasons. I haven't gotten to season 3. So can you give me some non-spoiler updates? What am I missing? What's going on?
Non-spoiler updates. Every character
few
is still
spoilers.
the worst. Every character is still the worst person you can possibly imagine. There is intrigue. You're never going to believe this, but they're trying to figure out who's going to be in power at the company, and they're just it's the same. I was talking about. My wife was telling me, she's like, I feel like it's just the exact same plot, just like 500 different ways, and they just kind of keep circling around. And I think one of the things I like about Succession is you tend to think of people in these positions in life as being like, they're probably pretty capable and smart, right? Like, they wouldn't be in charge of this multi-billion-dollar company if they weren't smart, right? And then you see them like sitting around the table when they were trying to acquire the other I can't remember if that was this season or the season before. There is a scene where they are sitting with another family, and you realize, like, no, they are stupid and dysfunctional also. It's just like the cringe factor is so high. Was when Kindle did the rap, was that in season 2 or was that this season? If you don't remember, then it must be this season.
I feel like I kind of remember that. It's been a while, so I watched it, took like a 2-year break, or a year and a half, it seems like.
There's a scene where they're at this party for his dad, and he's just like, he just puts on this like weird jersey that says Logan on it, and he just like, it does a rap about his dad, and it's the cringiest, just like awful. I'm gonna
get into it, but it's one of those shows I want to watch undistracted,
right?
And it's just rarely I have time to do that. So we don't want to keep you forever, but we do have a question we ask all our guests, a couple of questions, and they're very feel free, if you're uncomfortable, you don't have to answer it, but
okay.
Your favorite French fry style. What's your favorite French fry?
Okay, so the best, I had duck fat fries at a restaurant in Baltimore that has an owl, like a stained glass owl. It's in a hotel. Apparently this is so wild that I can remember all these details about it, but I can't remember the name of the hotel or the restaurant that's in it. This hotel was featured in Unsolved Mysteries. There was a guy that died because he fell off the roof, and everybody thinks it was a murder, but it was declared a suicide, and it's like been unsolved for a decade or more. But the bar / restaurant in that hotel serves these duck fat fries, and they are super, super crispy on the outside, but the inside is soft. They're just phenomenal. So I think anytime you can get that sort of crispy outside with the soft inside, you're doing it right.
That's the most specific answer we've gotten, I think, ever.
I'm surprised I was able to come up with it that quickly. It's just the last time I went to that place was like 2.5 years ago. So
I feel like you've been waiting to be asked that. Like,
that's
French fry ever.
Even
It's on the tip of my tongue.
They're really good fries, though. Like, if you're ever there, I will.
Yeah. If I'm in Baltimore, I'll send you a message. Where was the
okay,
fries
yeah, do it.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you. Do you have anything coming up you want to plug? You want to talk about?
Let me think. I don't think so. I'm planning on doing some more of my. Generally, every off season, I will sort of accumulate memorabilia and then sell it for charity. So that'll be coming up. I don't know when. It's probably after Thanksgiving. So, but I just do that on Twitter. So keep an eye on my Twitter account. Other than that, no. I mean, December, I'm actually taking some time off in December because it looks like the sport's probably going to shut down for a little while. Have a work stoppage. And so I'm going to take some PTO since there won't be any baseball to report on, and get that vacation that I didn't get when when I had to cover the draft and the All-Star game at the same time.
Well, I hope you get some good time off, some quality time. Thank you, Levi. Follow Levi on Twitter at 32ephus. That's your sports account. What's your non-sports?
Just my name, just Levi Weaver.
at Levi Weaver. So follow both accounts. Great follow. Thanks for coming on for the third time. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Levi.
Good to see you guys.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Well, there he goes, Mr. Levi Weaver of The Athletic.
Adam, have you ever had duck fat fries?
I haven't.
Or duck fat anything?
I've had duck?
Yeah, I've had
some
duck.
fat on it. Wow. That was really like duck fat fries. Like, okay, wait a minute.
So I think I know the place I think I've seen that Unsolved Mysteries that he's talking about. The person like fell through, not like off the roof, but like if it's what I'm thinking of. It was kind of like off of the roof but onto another building, but there was like one of those skylights, and so they fell through it. I think that's the place he's talking about in Baltimore. But that was a very quick and specific answer. I'm pretty impressed.
Yes. Well, Levi he's been a great guest. I like having him on. He's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
Glad he jumped on. Look out for his charity auction coming up. And yeah, let's keep rolling with it. Where were we at? Did we finish Nick Hates It? Did we get all our vitriol out?
I mentioned something about the Goofy movie because you're talking about the dentist where they did the little who flosses and production. And it reminds me, have you seen the Goofy movie, by the way?
Oh, maybe when it first came out. I feel like I saw it a long time ago.
It's a pretty old movie. It still holds up. I'm sure. Like, I bet your son would love it. Like, it's that kind of humor.
Okay.
But there's a scene in that where they're at like some weird like country show thing, and they're with possums because it's animals.
Right.
But yeah, it reminded me of the Goofy movie, which still holds up. But that's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him to watch that. He's probably seen it. Who knows? I don't know what he's seen or not. That boy gets his mom's tablet and just runs through Disney Plus. So
now I don't. Now you might have been. We're going to bring this up, but we're talking about movies a bit. You saw the new Ghostbusters.
Yes. So I don't know if you followed any of the tweets I tweeted from the obviously the show page.
I saw a little bit.
They don't need to make any more movies. They finished. They made the best one.
This was the best one.
They finished making movies. Period. Like, it's the best movie ever. I don't know. Like,
this is not real. You're not.
Nick, I have never. Okay, so I'm a big Avengers fan, and this is a long way of talking about this. Okay. So at Endgame, when like, we only get so much time. Anyway, Endgame, we get Steve Rogers, Captain America is about to get killed by Thanos, and it's him versus the whole Thanos army. His shield's all broken, and then all of a sudden, all the heroes that have been snapped out of existence come back, and then it's all the Marvel heroes versus all of Thanos' army, and it's like this chilling moment, like this big fan service moment.
Okay.
And it's really cool. It's this huge moment, and it's all these comic book characters in live action fighting each other, and it's really cool. If you're a comic book fan when you're growing up, it's like, oh, that's so cool. All these neat little scenes. This Ghostbusters movie was just like, it was a big I don't know. I love you to fans. I mean,
so I saw somebody else put on social media. They were like 18 when the first one came out, and they saw it in theaters. And they went and saw this one with their son when he's 17 or something like that. And they said they loved it. Like, they thought it, like, they really enjoyed the movie. And I'm shocked by that because they've made like multiple. Well, first of all, there was a sequel to the original. And then there's been like one or two since then, like modern day, that seem pretty bad. And so I assume that this one would also be bad.
So there was the first one in 1984. So I didn't, I was 1 at the time. So I grew up. So about the time the second one came out, I would have probably saw the first one, been on video. I saw the second one, which I liked the second one, which is kind of universally considered the worst one. Then they had the TV show, which is okay. Then they had the remake kind of the with the all female cast, which I enjoyed. I liked.
Which that was only like what, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought I had the potential. But there was, there's some issues with it. But nothing to do with any of the actresses or any of the people. But anyway, good movie. But Jason Reitman directed, who is the son of the original director, Ivan Reitman.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to bring back. So the story I've understood was in about 2013 or so. When did he die? So they wanted to make a sequel, basically this movie. Sorry, I'm looking something up real quick because I need to get my dates right. What's his name? Harold Ramis. So there was a plan, 2014, to remake Ghostbusters with kind of their daughters, their kids, taking over.
Uh-huh.
And in 2014, Harold Ramis, who's Egon Spengler, died. He got sick and he died unexpectedly. And so that idea got scrapped, and that's what became eventually the all-female cast, the kind of the whole kind of reimagining. And it wasn't really well received by fans overall, and so they decided, let's try to build off the first two movies.
Okay.
But it was, now the problem is, and the big criticism, and I understand the criticism is, like, my kids, they've seen Ghostbusters, so they know what it is, but if you've never seen Ghostbusters, it's not going to be something, you're not really going to be able to get into the whole, you need to see the first two. You got to see at least the first one. It's more of a direct, it is a direct sequel to the first one. It doesn't really build off the second one at all. But yeah, so it builds off the first one. It's very clearly that same storyline, the same.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to see the first one. So that's the big criticism, and I get it, is if a new fan isn't going to say, I want to see Ghostbusters Afterlife, they're not going to get it. Because there's so many Easter eggs, there's so many callbacks, there's so many just little scenes and so many jokes and so many quips and so many lines. It's like, oh, yes, he said that, yay!
So what you're kind of saying is like why I loved the first season of Cobra Kai.
Exactly. And I remember thinking about it after I watched it. Yeah.
I'll see it.
Yes. You've seen Ghostbusters, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Loved it as a kid.
And it's great, and it's the end scene. Oh,
I'll have to go see it.
I was like, we went to the drive-in, and my wife told me like the day after, like, you were being so loud. I was being loud at the drive-in, like she was like embarrassed people were gonna get mad because I was like,
were you
I was clapping.
Surprised?
Yes.
Okay.
So I kind of knew what was gonna happen because from the preview. But just when it happened, like I got so excited, like a little kid Adam came out, and I was like, I was clapping, like, yes!
That's funny. Well, now I'll have to see it, because I expected the review to be like, it is what it is, just another remake, but I'll have to see the movie.
It's good, and I think they've built a good thing to build, a good step to kind of keep going with it. I'd like to see some more. So they've definitely, and the article I read, it's like, they've set it up so they can do more, but the ultimate is going to be box office receipts. Does good in the box office, right. You'll have more. So go see it. Right. I need another one. Even if you like it, just for me.
I'll go see it. You convinced me.
Yes. And Wheel of Time. Do you have the Amazon Prime?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Wheel of Time advertised?
I have not.
So Amazon Prime is a book series, kind of in the same vein as the Game of Thrones, right? Paid a ton of money to get the rights, ton of money to produce it. I was like, okay, I'm going to check it out. I like Game of Thrones. It looks like it was made in 2012. It is some of the cheesiest special effects. The actors, like, it just looks like they grabbed them off the street no hair or makeup. Just throw on some period piece clothes and go in there. Wave your hands around.
Not worth it, I'm assuming.
No, it's hard to get into the story because the CGI is like, golly, this is made of like someone did this on their home computer. Like, is this what we gave up for Bezos to go to the moon or wherever he went?
I guess so. I haven't seen that, but I will not be watching it. Amazon show that I'm disappointed there hasn't been a second season. At least I don't think so. We watched this at the beginning of the pandemic. Was Upload. I think there's just one season, and from what I read, they were going to make a second one. I think the pandemic threw that off, and I don't know if they have, but there's at least one season on Prime Video, and it's a pretty solid show. It's about like when you die, you can get uploaded into alternate reality. Yeah. But I watched that on Prime. I watched The Boys on Prime. I watched Jack Ryan on Prime. So there's some good stuff out there.
Boys season 3, excited? With
when does it come out? When does it drop?
I don't know. I know Jensen Ackles is supposed to come join it. Did you ever watch? Go ahead.
I like the show. It's a lot though. Like, it's pretty gory, pretty graphic. So like I can only handle so much at one time.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, you have to kind of in doses. Another one like that. Did you watch Invincible?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like The Boys but animated.
Yeah.
So a little bit more graphic, I'd say. It doesn't say early 2021. Oh, they started shooting early 2021, but it doesn't have a. I don't see a. They don't have a release date yet. But anyway, let's. We're kind of running long. We got some Sunday Night Football. Any thoughts on today's football before we get out of here? Sports and such.
Bummer for the Cowboys. I thought they'd win that game. I thought they'd win that outright. They were underdog in that game. Offense, I mean, they can blame it on not having Amari Cooper or Tyron Smith, but like nobody played that well. I thought offensively, a lot of drops. Dak was not great. I mean, he was under a lot of pressure, but he wasn't great. Defense played really well. I mean, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I'd be encouraged by that defensive performance. Only gave up 19 points. Is that what it ended up being?
Yeah.
The NFL kind of continues to be kind of drunk. Like the Bills got killed by the Colts, the Eagles.
No. Yeah, Bills got killed by the Colts. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Eagles routed the Saints.
Titans lost at home.
Titans lost to the Texans. Like, who is really good in the NFL? All of a sudden, the Patriots, like, they're kind of back at the top of their division. The AFC especially, there's a ton of parity. So I think the back half of the year, the end of the season is going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see what happens. But I think the Chiefs are getting hot at the right time, and we're going to see that they're going to kind of be back to what they were. Although they've got some clear issues. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is under some pressure. They turned the ball over a couple times, so they're not without flaws.
Yeah, I don't think there's any perfect team, and Minnesota did Dallas a favor, beating Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't see coming. Yeah, I did terrible in my pick'em league again because the NFL just doesn't like me.
Now, I will say the parity in the NFL, I love. That's part of the reason why it's so enjoyable. Like, that's the difference. Like college football, there's such a lack of parity. And in the NBA, for this year, it's getting a little bit more, but for a while, there was such a lack of parity. The best teams are going to meet in the finals. That's what makes the NFL, to me, so enjoyable, is that it's just any given week can kind of go haywire. So I think the back half of the year will be fun, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Amari Cooper going to be out on Thanksgiving. The Raiders look pretty bad. They lost again today, so I don't think the Cowboys really have to worry too much about them. But you never know.
Yeah, they need to play better. Than last time they got beat, they came out and really showed how good they can be. So let's hope they take it out on the Raiders this Thursday. Well.
Yeah, Colt McCoy beat the Seahawks, so the Cardinals beat the Seahawks. My new hope for the Steelers is Russell Wilson as the quarterback next season. So I'm out on Aaron Rodgers and his weird anti-vax, not even just being anti-vax, but like lying about it. I'm all in on Russell Wilson, so that's where we're at.
Well, best of luck to you. Well, this is last show before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you, Nick, and all our
thank you,
our listeners out there. And yeah, till we see you again, stay above average.
God, that man is well below average.